So that's all I want to know. Like, I want to know the full workflow from like where does Netflix come in? Where
Mm,
does MRC come in? Like from the idea state. Somebody has an let's go with Ozark.
yes.
Somebody has an idea, a script for Ozark. How does
Hmm.
that flow? Where does MRC come in? Where does Netflix come in? Where do you come in? How did
Yeah.
from A to Z? I want to hear. I want to know that behind the scenes flow. Yeah.
No, that's a great question. So it's like, it depends. It can come from different areas, but usually it's, people pitching directly to MRC because they are a self financier, that they can finance a TV show, finance a film. They truly believe in indie talent. So,
Mm-hmm.
especially first time filmmakers, that's something we really want to like hone in on and really develop those relationships of giving people a voice. Like,
Yeah.
Core Jefferson with American Fiction. I mean, that's huge. I think
Great
he's like
film. Yeah.
killing it now.
Yeah. Wow.
But he was a first time filmmaker, right? So it's like
Mm,
American Fiction was, let's use that for an example. That was like
mm-hmm.
pitched to one of our producing partners, T Street. They brought
Mm-hmm.
it to us of like, oh, do you want to like finance this project? And our creative team is pitched. If they really like the idea, then they meet with our head of production and our presidents to really determine where it will fit in our slate, and
Mm-hmm.
then we can either do multiple things. One, we could try to pre-sale it, like find a distributor before we make it, like let them know the budget that we've created of what we're going to produce this film under, and then we can pre-sell it, so like we know we have a distributor before we make it. Or what
Mm-hmm.
we've lately been doing is MRC will just, have that meeting of the minds with our creative team, our presidents. One of our co-presidents is, head of the creative team. And then our other co-president is basically our marketing slash legal head. Like he's like my boss's boss.
Okay.
So essentially my boss too. And they will come and they will meet, internally and advise if this fits within our slate and the budget that they want it to
Mm-hmm.
fall under with our head of production. And then they will tell us, and then we'll have to make some deals happen. We'll have to secure the rights. We'll have to do the writing deal if
Mm-hmm.
there's any more writing that needs to be done. And then once it gets to a place where we can greenlight it, so we have some talent attached, we have a director, we can go and make that film as quickly as we have people that are signed on to do those deals. And meaning, when we say sign on, we go to the marketplace, like the creative team pitches to different agents or agencies looking for certain talent that they think
Mm-hmm.
would fit the voice of that. And like American
The role.
Fiction specifically, we had like the highest caliber Black talent, right? Like we had
Yeah.
freaking Tracy Ellis Ross, Jeffrey Wright,
Sterling
Sterling K.
K.
Brown. Like
Yeah.
I was just so
Big
honored to work
hitters.
big hitters. And it's like, that budget was actually very small budget. So you wouldn't Cord alluded to it in his acceptance speech, but we made that for like sub 10 million. So that's crazy, right?
It's
So
crazy.
you
How's
make that.
how's a budget even decided? Is it goes into like how much we want to pay the actors? This production
Yeah,
set.
it's
How is that
really
even
like
decided?
it's literally like the superpower of our producers and our head of production. Like I
Mm-hmm.
give all credit to them because they can look at a script and tell you, do you need a lot of VFX? Do you need like what
Mm-hmm.
setting is this to create the location? Can we shoot on location or do we need to create a set? And if it needs a lot of VFX, that means, it's high budget because
Right.
VFX alone is millions. I mean, think of like all the
Yeah.
Marvels and Disneys of the world, like that's crazy
Hundreds of
expensive.
millions of dollars. Yeah.
But if it's more of a character driven story where it's like real
Mm,
people having dialogue, and if it's not
right.
extravagant scenery, you can really like cut the budgets down, right? And so
Yeah.
that's the superpower of the head of production at our team and our line producers. Like line producers are hired to create the budgets. So they look at the script. Well, first
Mm,
our head of production looks at the script. Our head of finance looks at the script and our whole finance
mm,
team, and they determine, is this realistic? Could this be set in, let's say, Atlanta, New Mexico,
mm.
London, England, like
Down
the
the street.
UK?
Ask somebody to
Yeah,
use their
South
house.
Africa. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
look at like, are these places that have tax credits? So like, are we incentivized to produce in these places
Mm.
that give us money back for filming in their location and hiring people that are in their specific territory?
Wow. I didn't even know that was a tax credit. Wow. That's dope.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy, right? So it's like people
Yeah.
are like, let's say Atlanta, like a decade ago, I don't think there was a lot of production being done in Atlanta, but thanks to that mayor, Kareem, is his last name Grimes? I'm forgetting his last name, but like I remember Mayor Kareem,
Yeah.
like he created this initiative to really incentivize people to come and produce in Atlanta.
Yeah.
I went and met him in 2017 for this activation with this organization I'm a part of called Breakout. And I remember him talking at the time of like him really wanting, to like, for one, this was pre Tyler Perry's big studio there, but
right.
He was like, we've created this initiative. We really want people to invest and like produce here. This is like, there's so much land. There's so much opportunity. There's the crews that are there. Like he really wanted, people to invest. Bring jobs to people there. So he created this initiative, this tax incentive to incentivize people to produce there. And then next thing you know, like, I think Tyler Perry was already like one of his partners, like working and producing there. But like, then, a few years later, Tyler Perry creates the studio, and it's just like, it's like the mecca now for a lot of productions.
Right. Yeah.
But it only happens when you're saying like, if you're training crews out there, and if you're giving people money to invest, like you're saying, if you hire a certain amount of crew or a certain amount of talent being produced there, and locations, then we'll give you a tax credit. So you get some money back from your budget, and you can cut your budgets down that way significantly, and millions sometimes. So, so if you can shoot it in an area like that, that really affects like the budget. And then, like, okay, we could get talent for a certain caliber of talent for a certain budget. Or if, maybe you're giving them a piece of the back end, like, I can't share all the secrets, but like, that's part of the sauce of like, you know what I mean? Like putting together a project, and it's all these like parts that come together. And the more you do it, like our head of production's been doing this for 20 years. So like he knows the players, he knows, what people will do this for somewhat. And my boss, like the head of BLA, he's been doing this for 20 years too. So he also knows like, okay, the Julia Roberts of the world will do it for this rate, but then like the more, middle ground talent will do it for this, the more, the junior talent that you're kind of like breaking, and they're like, like the Eve Houstons of the world who are like, killing it. They will do it for that. So, it really is a Jenga.
Is it hard balancing the creative and the finances at the same time? Because if I'm thinking about, I have this movie, Julia Roberts will be great in it, but I only have this budget. I gotta now settle for this, or even vice versa. Like, I know this up and coming actor would do it, but we have the bread to get a Julia Roberts. We're not going to go with them. Like, is it hard balancing the creative side of it and the finances?
I wouldn't say it's hard. I think it's fun. That's the challenge, right? That's the job of being a producer, is problem solving. And the creatives, like, they are literally, they're putting together stories that we want to see, and like people that they think would be talented, but they also don't always want to use, I hate saying the Julia Roberts of the world, but like sometimes you don't want to always use the well-known talent, because the audience is going to expect it to go this way for the storyline. So it's not always a surprise. So you sometimes want to feel like you're using talent that you're breaking, or talent that are less known, because that's the true character. Like you can focus on the character and not like, oh my God, that's like so-and-so. You know what I mean? Like, Julia Roberts is one of my favorite talents. So, hey, if I could be so lucky to ever work with her, I'm going for it. But, the creative's job is to really help us like escape and get engrossed in projects. And sometimes they want to choose people that not everybody is going to know. But then, but you also want to choose talented people. So sometimes you have to choose the talent that's well known, because they've had the most experience. So it just depends. It just depends. Are you going to cast, like take the time to hire a casting director, someone who's going to look at people's reels, look at people's auditions? That takes time, that takes money. So even if you're paying talent that are less well known, you can choose, talent that's less well known, but you still have to pay for money to like invest in figuring out like their skill set and their talent, etc. So it really just depends.